Welcome to the world of IVMV. Today, what I'm going to show you is the only pattern that works 100% throughout this entire bear cycle. That's the only pattern that my whole community, the 4th Legion, operates day after day, trade after trade. Once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. So let's dive into it. Okay, in order for myself to unravel this pattern that has worked 100% so far for my community, we're gonna start simple. Two graphs, one from 2026 or nowadays, and one from 2018. Simple graphs, no indicators whatsoever. Alright, let's dive into it. Alright, when we look at those two graphs, we can basically see that the only similarities at first sight is that both of these graphs were in a downtrend. The other thing is, well, if you're an American, you can simply say that both of these occurred in a midterm year. So far, so good, but nothing spectacular here. Let's take a look at the highs. Well, back in 2017, Bitcoin topped at roughly 20K. This time, back in 2025, in October, we topped out at 126,000. Nothing interesting here. But the interesting part because is when we take a look at the lows. Let's start with the first one. Here, after this capitulation on the February 6th, the price went down to pretty much, let's call it 5,900. What happened on February 6th here? Well, the Bitcoin bottomed as well. Well, it's a coincidence, but the interesting part is that it bottomed at 15,977. This exchange, well, on different exchanges, we're gonna see different numbers, but basically, we bottomed at 5,900 in 2026 at, I'm sorry, we bottomed at 59,000 in 2026 and we bottomed at 5,900 in 2018. Basically times 10. But so far, so good. Next thing that we gonna pay a close attention to is what happened at the next low. Well, the next low was here, 6,400. All right, when did it happen? Let's put some dates on the table. So we have this low here. Let's take a look at this low here. This low occurred at 6,400 in 2018 and it was a higher low. And it happened on, let me see. It happened on 1st of April. This low was at basically 64, 65,000 and it happened on 29th of March. 1st of April, 29th March, 6,400, 64,000. Well, another similarity, but it could happen. The next thing we're gonna see is the sweep of the low here. When we sweep that low, the price went to 5,700. What happened this time? We swept the low and we went to 57,000. But once again, let's take a look. When did this happen? The one in 2018 happened on 24th of June. Actually, the one in 2018 happened on 27th of June. When we take a look at when did our happened 1st of July. Few days apart, same exact number, just 10x difference. Now I'm gonna just apply one indicator. Simple. I'm gonna just add the 200 SMA or the 200 simple moving average on both graphs. When we take a closer look at the 200 SMA in May 2018, we simply got rejected at the 200 SMA after a few touches, in this case 2 touches. What happened in May this time? We had few touches of the 200 SMA and we simply sold off. I know the top was different, but anything else is pretty much the same. What is more interesting is, let's simply follow the path. We reached our peak in 2017, sort of all the way to 6th of February, so we call this a February low, early February low, to the price of 5900. Then we got a small relief. Then when we came back in late March, early April, we had a hard low. Then we rallied all the way to the 200 SMA in May and then swept the low in June and June. Then we rallied all the way to 200 SMA by the end of July and we sold off by mid-August. Beautiful. Let's take a look what happened in 2026 so far. We're gonna start with a high from 2025 in October. We sold off all the way to the 6th of February. Had a small relief and then we sold off till the end of March, early April. We rallied in May, touched the 200 SMA, and then we sold off in the end of June. Right now, we could expect that rally back to the 200 SMA. But right now, many of you are gonna say, well, yes, but we have these bigger rallies here. We had these bigger rallies back in February. The price went back to 11,000s, and we didn't see the Bitcoin this year to 110K. Well, you're right. Another counterpoint, you're gonna say, well, back in 2018, the price of Bitcoin was pretty much 20K. Why didn't we see the 200K in 2025? And you're absolutely right. But what I'm gonna show you is my custom 4th Legion risk indicator. Okay, now we have the two graphs, but with the risk indicator applied. It goes from 0 to 1, indicating how risky the Bitcoin was, or in simple words, it calculates the euphoria that the market has. If the market is more euphoric, we see these dots going all the way to the red or to the number 1. And if we're more mild, the same thing that we experienced this cycle, it's called the apathetic top, or we had the apathy when it comes to Bitcoin this year. It doesn't go much higher than zero point 0.5. When we look at Bitcoin in 2017, it was euphoric. So the retail was heavily investing and reached this 20,000 zone. This year, let's see, at the peak, reached pretty much 0.42. Back in 2017, we reached at the peak a value of 0.877. Beautiful. With this said, if we exclude the euphoria out of the pattern and simply get the prices lower, you're gonna see how it mimics it perfectly. What happened after the first drop from the high in 2017 down to the 6th of February? The value got down to 0.35. It's a big difference. But once again, from that point, we were able to get all the way up to 0.488. When we take a look, what happened this time is after we dropped to basically 0.49, we're able to get all the way to zero point 0.2. That was the highest. So, once again, back in 2018, we had a lot of noise. I'm gonna call it noise. This euphoria is noise. It's a speculation. It's people desperately saying that yeah, Bitcoin is gonna get all the way to 100K back in 2018. Yeah, it never happened. So on the first drawdown, it swept most of the euphoria. Most of the people that were heavily invested in calling that Bitcoin back then is going to reach the 50K zone, and they thought that they're going, they thought that they're buying Bitcoin pretty much discounted. And yeah, after like 10 years, yeah, it's definitely discounted. Like if you bought Bitcoin back in at, if you bought Bitcoin back in 2018 at the price of 7,000, would you care that right now is like 60K, even though it went down to, I don't know, maybe like 3,000 or something? No, you wouldn't mad. You basically did like 10x on your investment, and in the peak it was a 20x on your investment, so it's pretty good. But back to the pattern. Then the rally here is still, it was a little bit euphoric, and after the second sweep that occurred end of March, early April, most of the euphoria was gone. That's why it was much easier to track and have clear guidance of where you're going to expect the Bitcoin to bounce and to what point and where it's going to bottom. Because right now on the risk metrics, we're the same levels. If you take a look, now it goes from like light blue to like greenish. Right now it's the same thing. We're doing the exact same pattern, one to one. If you exclude the euphoria, you're getting the exact same pattern. And right now I'm gonna show you many things from my Telegram. If you take a look at this thing, we're calling way before it happened. Same idea. We're shorting from the 80K zone down to 59. With that said, I'm not sure if anyone else has figured this out. And now it's your time to take this opportunity. Either you're gonna long from here or you're gonna short later on. You get the advantage over the market. That's what we've been doing for the last few months. We'll be taking this advantage and making huge bags of money. And it's not only for Bitcoin. The fourth legion, I have posted multiple patterns that played out to the teeth on different assets. Starting from gold back in October, when we go to oil, I was bullish on oil since January, and it played out perfectly, which is 120. To other commodities, services, stocks, and cryptos. And so far, so good. If you'd like to join, follow me on Instagram, GalenIDNV, write Legion on a DM, and you're welcomed. Right now, my private community, the Fourth Legion, works with exchange WeeX. And if you use the link down below, you're going to be able to get the BAP2 for life, not just for a month, not just for two, for a life. Plus, you're gonna get 10 USD on your first deposit of 100 USDT. Simple. Use the advantage, and thanks for watching. Save it, like it, share it if you like, you find this useful, and let's get the money, boys.